All right, this is Dan Meehan for Fight News Australia, and today we have the smiling assassin, Dave Martinez, who is fresh from reclaiming the Eternal lightweight title at Eternal 69. Dave, how are you?
Oh, fantastic, brother. Even better after last Friday. How about yourself?
Yeah, all good, can't complain. And yeah, I bet you're going well. The Eternal lightweight champion, David Martinez. I bet you'll never get sick of hearing that.
I've only been missing it for the last 3 years, bro.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, let's talk about the build up to the fight. Before we sort of get to the fight itself, obviously, we've got to talk about that. It was, obviously, your opponent, Aidan Aguilera, as we know, sort of gave you a pretty hard time for a year or so leading up to it. And, we obviously had our three-way interview, and of course, you didn't really get to say your piece due to some Wi Fi issues. So, how was the rivalry from your end, and did any of it sort of get under your skin?
Well, man, I think it was about 18 months long of just like continuous attacks and social media assaults from the guy. And it was our three-way interview where I went down smoke thanks to some lagging issues on my part. Yeah. Looking back on it now, man, I suppose it helps that I went on to win the fight, but I can't help but look back on it and just enjoy it. It just seemed like just a lot of fun going back and forth, taking shots at each other, and at the end of the day, I've got all the respect in the world for him as a competitor, as a fellow person. So there's no hard feelings there from my part.
It's
Looking back on it, I quite enjoyed our rivalry.
Yeah, there you go. And like you say, like you said in the build-up, once that cage door closes, you get to handle business and throw real shots at each other. So, when it came down to it, you came out on top, of course, by a round two rear naked choke. So, did the fight itself sort of play out as you'd expected going in, or was it sort of, were there any surprises along the way?
Yeah, well, the fight there wasn't as much resistance as I expected. But I did believe, uh, yeah, it just ended up being a lot easier than I expected. I thought I was going to have to really put it on him for about up to round three and four, where I was looking to take over and score a finish. But uh, by the end of the first round, I think he was done.
It certainly seemed that way, and we obviously found out after the fight that Aiden had suffered a rib injury. It's sort of early in the first round. Did you sense that at all in there?
At the time, man, but when looking back on it, I was like, oh yeah, yeah. There was a part where he was like pacing back and forth, and we were getting announced type thing, and he started screaming, "Let's go!" And I think he popped his ribs when he yelled a bit too hard.
It wouldn't be surprising. He put a fair bit of vigor into some of the words that he sort of slang in your direction. But after the fight, you look pretty concerned. After choking Aiden out, can you tell us a little bit about what you were feeling immediately after the stoppage?
Well, man, when the fight's over, that's it. Like, like the person there is just another fellow human being, and to see them unconscious, I do, I want to do my part to try and help them. Obviously, like, it's not my part to play. You have refs, you have doctors, and you see them kind of like shoving me out of the way because I'm not supposed to do anything. Like, they know what they're doing and they've got it handled. It's like, get out of the way, Dave, type thing. But yeah, I do find myself like I care for my opponent in the end, and yeah, it's just hard seeing them just lying there unconscious. Yeah, it's rough actually.
Yeah, it must be a little bit confronting, I guess, sort of having done that to someone. But have you spoken to Aiden since the fight at all?
I haven't spoken to him personally, but I've seen a couple of his posts, and man, he's a funny guy, isn't he? Like, if anyone like grew to dislike Aiden for our rivalry, like, we can go check out his social media now. Like, he, he's hilarious. Like, you'll enjoy following that guy.
Yeah, definitely. He's a nice guy and a funny follow on the socials. So, do you think you guys will sort of get in contact and sort of bury the hatchet at any point like that, or do you think it's still there's still a bit of animosity there?
Well, there's none from my side, I'll tell you that, man. I'm more than happy to be friends with him, but uh, that's completely up to him. If he wants to be friends, we will. If not, like, uh, yeah, let him have it his way. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I like the guy, so go do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when did it sort of sink in that you'd finally reclaimed the belt?
Yeah, it was well, to be honest, it kind of sunk in beforehand, and as I was getting the belt put around me, I was like, damn, I've already relived this moment like 1,000 times already. So kind of kind of stole a bit of the joy from the actual moment itself. Like I visualized it far too many times, and I kind of spoiled it for myself. But yeah, no. I mean, it really is everything we've been working for in the last 3 years. Just get our way back to the belt and get it. And so yeah, to have it sitting up on my shelf at the moment, it's like wow, I can't believe this has actually happened.
Yeah. So, I mean, what does it mean to you to have that shiny belt back around back in your keeping?
Oh, well, like I said, man, it was the goal. It's what we've been striving for the last 3 years, and so just to have it sitting there, it's like oh god damn, yeah, like nothing can beat it in this moment. Like I'm sure it'll wear off in a week, and I'll be like back in the gym against smash by my teammates. But, for now, I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy the moment.
Absolutely. And are you heading straight back to training, or are you going to take a break before you get stuck in?
Well, I tried heading straight back in on Monday, and yeah, my teammates proceeded to ragdoll me and had me sit down. And Ryan Dunstan comes over. He's like, "Oh, having a bit of a hard time there, hey, champ. Got a belt and you're right back here getting smashed, eh?" Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, leave me alone, man.
Guess the champ gets no special treatment down there.
None at all, brother. We're all the same in the end in that training room."
Awesome. Well, yeah. How did you celebrate after the fight? What do you like to do to celebrate a win?
Man, I like to stuff my face with donuts, is what I like to do. And
Yeah.
courtesy of my man Liam Brewster, I got a fine set of these fancy as like different flavors. They're like mini cakes, almost like that. He got me, and I'm like, oh, the best man. Six gorgeous different flavors, and I couldn't be a happier man.
Sounds like a good time. You're a pretty big boy. Do you normally cut much weight to get down to lightweight?
I've been definitely getting better at the weight cut, man. It was a bit rough for me when I fought Tim Schultz because that was a short notice fight, and so I had to do a bit more work in the weight cutting department. But this time around it was a lot better, especially after having gone down and seen Joe Lopez down at freestyle and him speaking to me about a couple of things regarding weight and how it's important to stay a bit lower, type thing. And I think you'll notice that I came in a bit leaner in this fight.
Mm. Yeah, I did. We talked about it on the podcast, Fight Talk Down Under, of course. We sort of noted that you were sort of looking a little bit leaner this time around. So it's obviously a credit to your hard work there. But of course, after the fight, you called out another fighter from Integrated, Downhill. You've obviously got some history with him. So we know that Dan's pursuing boxing while he's recovering from injury. But can you tell us where that call out came from, and if there's been any interest from the Hill camp?
Yeah, man. So after I fought Timmy Schultz, I actually ran into Dan Hill, and we just exchanged pleasantries and said, well, "Oh, yeah, wouldn't mind fighting." And he thought he was going to be back around. I think he said November, December type thing. I was like, "Yeah, that works," type thing. But and during the build up to Aguilera, I noticed he got tagged a couple of times. I was in post, and that's I thought he was still interested. Hence why I called him out after the fight. I thought, like, hey, let's set this up, get the ball rolling. I did not know he was taking a second boxing fight until I saw on your podcast, man. And I was like, oh, he's a bit busy, I guess. And so, I mean, I probably should have checked with him beforehand, maybe. But yeah, so that was my mistake. Uh,
There you
yeah,
go. I
so
mean, it sounds like
I
he's
thought he
just
was
doing it in
doing
the
pretty good.
meantime.
Yeah, yeah, like he could still be injured, man. Like maybe he hasn't recovered as well as he would have liked, as much as he was anticipating. Maybe I don't know, but obviously he's busy.
Yeah, in the short term, it certainly looks that way. But if he's going to be ready November, December, then I'm sure MMA is still still his goal. So it still could be on the cards. But of course, now the hunter becomes the hunted, right? Like a few fighters have come out of the woodwork to sort of stake their claim for the next shot at the title, and one that obviously caught my eye and seems to have caught your eye as well on social media was from the other smiling assassin, Adam Cook. Is that one of interest to you at all?
Not really interested having that guy is filing for copyright infringement, eh? Yeah, freaking trying to steal my name out of here. No, no, but Adam Cook's a pretty cool guy, man, and yeah, I would say he probably needs to win that lightweight on Eternal in order to qualify for a shot. Like, because at the moment, we've got a few names thrown around, and you're right. Yeah, the hunter becomes the hunted. Like, it's like I instantly got a target on my back. If you're talking the lightweight landscape in Eternal, like the only man who really deserves like the top billing, eh, aside from Jack Becker coming back from injury, would be Blake Donnelly, would it not?
Yeah, that was the next name I was going to put to you. Actually, obviously he had an impressive win over John Bruin in the main event of Eternal 70. So it's obviously been thrown out as a likely matchup as well. So yeah, how do you feel about that one?
Yeah, yeah. Like I freaking love Donnelly. He's one of my favorite fighters on the regional scene and just a top notch guy. So yeah, yeah. If it ends up being us two in December, like I'm down for it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm down to watch that as well. I think that's a brilliant matchup. But obviously, no, you had a couple of teammates on the card as well on Friday night. So did you get to have a look at your teammates' fights, or are you sort of busy backstage getting ready for your fight?
So like, I got to watch Liam Brewster. Yeah, I went out to watch his fight before going backstage. I missed out on Ryan Levy and I saw the first round of Jamie's fight, but then the fight pass cut out on us, and I'm like, oh, I still having Wi-Fi issues even out here now. So I didn't get to see the
Uh,
rest of that, and obviously I didn't see Jimmy or John's.
Yeah, right. There you go. So, obviously, your teammate Jimmy O'Brien had an absolute war with Liam Stephen there. So, have you had a chance to sort of watch it back, or did you know how sort of spoken to Jimmy? Do you know how he's pulled up from that one? Because yeah, it was a wild one.
Man, I was just actually out to lunch with Jimmy just about maybe 30 minutes ago. Holy heck, he heals fast. Last time I saw him, like you could you could not see his eyes. Now, now he doesn't even look like they were swollen at all. Like they just look normal. And I'm like,
Yeah,
holy
right.
heck, what is your secret, man? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
You might want to get your starter onto my boy there. He's on something that's helping him heal there.
yeah. That's interesting. That's
Freaking
interesting. Well, good on
Wolverine.
him. Yeah, maybe they should call him Wolverine rather than the dog.
Bro, I was gonna say, yeah, but he definitely was the dog in that fight. Like by
Absolutely.
all means, should have been over in the first round, but freaking stuck it out, fought back for another two. And if he doesn't get, like, Liam and Jimmy don't get fight of the night, something is rigged in the system.
Yeah, you would think so. It was an absolute war, and of course, your other teammate John Martin Fraser had a win over Matt Myers. There's been some discussion about the decision there, but how did you view the fight? Have you had a chance to watch it back?
Johnny the Welsh Eagle, man, freaking comes out like, oh yeah, I'm a striker, and then puts on a wrestling clinic. I'm like, oh, what the heck is this? Like, talk about inspiring me before I go out and fight for my title, eh? Well, yeah, I've I heard a bit of a controversy about the decision. I'm not too sure why that is. Like, it seemed pretty clear cut. You get 22 rounds, and it's like, yeah, I think you won. So they, and then they're talking about like rematching for the title, and again, I'm not too sure about that. I'm like, you fought the champ off the couch on 8 days' notice. He still wins the fight, and they get a rematch for his title.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think John did enough to win the fight, but I think sort of the thinking might be that they had sort of Matt Myers was making his middleweight debut at the time, and then he stepped up another 6 kilos to sort of fight John Fraser. I think that might be the thinking there, but it was a fun fight. Like I'd watch it again. I don't have any issue with that at all. So
Yeah.
but does that give you a bit of a pump up, sort of seeing your teammate go out there and win before you?
Oh, yeah, it was huge, man. Especially like because the team had not been doing too well in results wise prior to that. Brewster's lost, Lee's lost, Jamie's lost, Jimmy's lost, and I'm sitting at the back by myself now, like because everyone's gone out, and the adrenaline team comes back, hear them through the curtains, and like I'm deaf, man, I can't make out the words they're saying, but they actually sound like they won. So then I'm like, and Johnny's lost too. I'm like, oh, freaking egg. But that he won. I was wrong there. So I was
Yeah.
pleasantly surprised.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now,
But
obviously, back
yeah,
to yourself. Like Dave, you're on a bit of a tear at the moment, and with 3 wins in your last 4 against quality opposition, and of course a shiny eternal belt to go along with it. So, most, if not all, fighters aspire to the bigger promotions. So, is that something that's on your radar? And sort of how far off do you think an opportunity like that might be for you?
yeah, man, I would love to fight in one of the bigger promotions if you're talking UFC, Bellator, one championship. Yeah, like yeah, one of those would be fantastic. But that's how far away it is. And I can't really tell. Like I've got the Eternal title now, so I would like to think one or two successful defenses would land me in the good books with the right people. But I definitely need to talk to some of the people who've sent other fighters and see how realistic that is. Like, because yeah, I've got the Eternal title, but I'm also like I'm a lightweight. Lightweight's the most competitive division in all of MMA. So
Yeah, this
you
is
look at
true.
any of the promotions, they got yeah. Look at any promotion, they've got no shortage of talented lightweights.
Yeah, yeah, it's a fair call. I mean, but if you're doing the right things, like I talk about this with my co-host on the podcast, Justin, all the time. Just make yourself undeniable. You keep stringing together wins, and someone will come calling. That's the way this sport is. So, hopefully not too far off there. But Dave, before I let you go, do you have any sponsors or anyone you'd like to shout out? I'll hand the reins over to you.
Yeah, I've got some sponsors I'd like to thank, man. But first, I got a bone to pick with your co-host, eh? This Mr. Van Heeden fella.
Yep, call him out.
Like,
Come on, light him up,
I
Dave.
watched one of the previous podcasts, and man, like, yeah, freaking like, I thought we were mates. I went down, trained, like, we're gonna get these eternal titles. We have the coastal belts. We're gonna get the eternal titles. Brothers in arms and everything. Freaking the the preview show comes around. He's like, oh, I pick Aguilera to win. I'm like, huh? What? Yeah, he dogged me. I'm like that Phil Pot fanboy dogged me. I don't know. I couldn't believe it, man. I have half a mind to cut my leg off and go to featherweight and flog him. But that's enough of my time with Eddie today. Is onto the sponsors, man. I want to thank Cage and Canvas, man, giving me my 16-ounce gloves that I use every sparring session. Freaking love them. I want to thank Guardian for giving me the masks for my walkout. He gave me like a custom made white with gold teeth, and I was like, fantastic. I want to thank Author for giving me my rash guards. I want to thank Havoc for freaking making my awesome shirt that my team was wearing, my supporters in the crowd. The Angry Baker, Hammerhead Barber, and as well as all my gyms I trained with, man. Ignite, Hellraiser, Tribal, Muscle Hut, and my boys at Freestyle too, eh? Friggin' love them, all of them.
Beautiful. Well, yeah, Dave, thank you so much for stopping by once again, and can't wait to see you back in the cage and defending that shiny new belt.
Yes, I will, man. Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me.